what's up? Welcome back to another edition of The Mandatory. Remember, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at The Mandatory TKO. And if you got a couple of minutes, you can also find us on the audio side. So, wherever you find your shows, podcasts, you can find us there as well. Give us a 5-star, leave a rate and review. Everything that I just mentioned, that helps the channel grow. If you've already hit the like and subscribe button and done all that, we appreciate you so much. We've seen the show grow recently, Bryan, and we've got some new viewers, some new subscribers, and of course, we got to thank the OGs for always rocking with us, leaving comments. And that reminds me, this is an interactive show. So remember, we will be reading your comments here today. And if you're catching this later, still leave some comments because we always see them and we might actually respond to them on the next episode. But I think this is a good test for Keyshawn. And are we going to see a fight with him and Shakur Stevenson one day? That'd be a great fight.
Raheem Palmer from The Ringer tells me he doesn't think so because they're like close. Like close. Like I don't, I get what Raheem's saying there. So, going back to the lightweight division, Andy Cruz versus Shakur Stevenson is a fight that like I would have trouble selling my casual friend, boxing friends, whatever, boxing fans. I just fucked that up. But you know what I'm saying? Like my homies who are casuals, I'm gonna have a hard time selling them on that fight. You have Mark Magsayo number 4 in the IBF rankings, which is pretty interesting. Lucas Body, we'll see where he's gonna be at.
Ooh, the Canadian, yes.
Sam Noakes, Lucas Body, who had that crazy knockout over Ashton Silva, who's no longer here. This is the guy for a lot of people. They're excited about. Let me move him up. Abdullah Mason.
Yes.
He will be in action this week. I legitimately think there are people who are more excited about the next 3 years, call it, of Abdullah Mason than maybe the next 3 years of anybody at lightweight. And I think there are
other than Keyshawn.
No, I think including Keyshawn. I think there are people who think Abdullah Mason is going to eventually beat Keyshawn, which I don't know if I'm there.
They're really close too, if I'm not mistaken. They're tight too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, Abdullah Mason's going to get a title shot at some point, although he's top ranked, so I'm highlighting him in the wrong governing body.
It looks like he's the WBO. There we go. He's number 2. He's coming, y'all.
If I'm top rank, I see money in Keyshawn Davis versus Abdullah Mason, but I don't do it yet. I think that's...
You got to build that. Build that.
Like late 2026, something like that. Abdullah Mason just started fighting 10-rounders. You know, like you can't fast track him at this point in that way. Clearly, he looks like he's going to be awesome. He also got dropped twice in a fight, came up and still came back and still won, which I think says a lot about somebody. Going back to Lomachenko, one of my favorite performances from him was against Jorge Linares because he got dropped in that fight, got up and finished that fight. Abdullah Mason's going to be fighting Jeremiah Nakathila this weekend, and this is a mutual opponent with Raymond Murataya, who got him out of there in 2 rounds, but also somebody with credentials.
So really quickly, Bryan, I think we might as well just talk about Keyshawn Davis right now because we're on this topic. Right. He's going to be fighting Edwin De Los Santos. Now, this is an Edwin De Los Santos that we've seen in the ring before. We know that there is a little bit of pop. He does have power, but how do you see this one going? Are you excited for this fight? I think it's a good test for Keyshawn Davis because Edwin De Los Santos he's not a layup. This is going to be a good test for him.
I'm not excited for this fight at all.
Okay.
I gotta be honest.
So who do you have? How do you have this one going?
The reason why I'm not excited for this fight at all is because Edwin De Los Santos, who I like, should not be fighting for a title. So Edwin De Los Santos, the last time we saw him was November 2023 in the most boring fight of the year against Shakur Stevenson, where he had a historically low, like record-breaking, all-time awful output.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we need to pull up the punch stats again, but like that's the last time we saw him, and I don't like, one of my pet peeves
is that his fault though, or is that Shakur's?
One of my pet peeves in the sport, just on principle, is getting a title shot after losing in a title shot. Like, this isn't somebody who is a former champion. Lomachenko loses a fight and it's close, like Devin Haney, for example, gets title shot right after because the IBF have him highly ranked in that fight with George Kambosos, and that one is like a little bit more like, oh, okay, Lomachenko has the credentials. He was very close against Devin Haney. A lot of people think he won that fight. That makes a little bit more sense to me. This, it's like, why is Edwin de los Santos in this position where a year and a half after one of the worst fights we've seen, he's getting a title shot in a fight where the guy who's favored to beat him is minus nearly 1,000 in Keyshawn Davis. We have the odds up here. Edwin de los Santos is plus 540. I think this is generous. I think Keyshawn Davis is going to beat the shit out of him.
I think Keyshawn Davis wins by stoppage or knockout. But here's the thing, like, I'm not really tripping on him fighting Edwin de los Santos because this happens in boxing often. Like, we see it happen all the time, right? And
After that
so
long of a layoff, though?
Brian, it happens. Like, the weirdest people get title shots. And you're just like, what's going on here? And it just comes down to the matchmaking. It comes down to they want to continue. And I'm not saying like this is a fight that's set to be a layup for Keyshawn Davis because, like I said, I still believe Edwin de los Santos is a good fighter. And he, he's not
I
going to.
agree with that.
He's a tough fighter, dude. And he got some pop. As for the Shakur Stevenson fight, I think some of that's on Shakur, not totally on Edwin de los Santos. Here's the thing I will say, though. They are pushing Keyshawn for a very good reason. Keyshawn Davis is an absolute superstar. We talk about the next faces of boxing. Keyshawn Davis is that guy. Like, just he has it all. He has all of the attributes to be the face of boxing. And they're going to put him in situations to continue to show out and entertain viewers. That's what this fight is for, Brian. It's to entertain the viewers and to also put Keyshawn Davis on a pedestal to be known as that guy. And they're going to continue to build him. This is the perfect fight for him because it's not an easy fight. They're going to market this and as a tough fight because it is. Like, Edwin de los Santos is not a layup, y'all. He is a tough fighter, and I think he's going to give us a little bit more action than he did in that Shakur Stevenson fight. I think this is going to be a way more entertaining fight than the Shakur Stevenson fight. I don't think this is going to be one that's going to put us to sleep. So I think when you think about the marketing aspect of this is why this fight is being set up for Keyshawn Davis. But nonetheless, after the fight, we're going to be talking about what's next for Keyshawn Davis. But he has all the attributes of a superstar. Like, we're going to see that on the screen when we see this fight.
He's ranked number 14th by the WBO. And to give people context, when Tyson Fury fought Derek Chisora a couple years ago, Derek Chisora was like ranked number 13 or 14 by the WBC for the heavyweight championship. And I'm looking at the rankings now. There are a few guys at least that I'd rather see Keyshawn Davis fight for the title in his first title defense. And it's a hometown title defense. I get it, blah, 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 blah. There are a bunch of people I'd rather see Keyshawn Davis fight if we're just looking at names on this list. Abdullah Mason is actually fighting. When you mentioned Nakathila earlier, the guy Abdullah Mason's fighting is ranked higher than the guy Keyshawn Davis is fighting. How does that make sense? Is boxing. That's the answer. Stupid ass sport that we love. Andy Cruz is obvious. Shit, Alan Chavez, that wouldn't be bad. Baranchek, who he already beat, is still number 6.
Gabriel Flores, what do you think about that?
Gabriel Flores is interesting. Yadier Herrera, who he might be a nut job, but that dude, I want to see him in a big fight. We haven't yet. I don't know if we will anytime soon. I'd rather see Yadier Herrera right now. I think Edwin de los Santos coming off a year and a half layoff, health issues, like this is a lot. And I think he's going to lose. He hasn't been stopped in his career yet, to his credit. So, but I think he will in this fight, or at least there's a strong possibility he might. Let's actually look at the odds again.
I think the reason why he's also fighting Edwin de los Santos, though, is that like, not to be disrespectful here, but if Keyshawn Davis beats Edwin de los Santos, then they're going to make the comparison. Will Shakur Stevenson beat Edwin de los Santos? Now let's have them fight each other.
I don't see that happening yet. But I mean,
It's
look,
a possibility, right? When we're going to be taking a look at resumes and whatnot. I think the next fight that everyone really wants to see is Shakur and Tank. But if we're setting it up and we're going by resumes, then you're looking at Shakur's resume and you're like, okay, he beat Edwin De Los Santos. Okay, Keyshawn Davis beat Edwin De Los Santos. Like, when they're doing matchmaking and they're building fights, this is one of the things that they definitely look at. That's my only thing where I'm like, okay, I could kind of see it. Also, Edwin De Los Santos is on Shakur Stevenson's resume. So when people look at Keyshawn Davis's resume, they're going to be like, okay, they both fought that guy, right? So that's another reason why they're kind of approaching this as the way that they are.
Keyshawn Davis is plus 170 to win by stoppage, minus 130 to win by points. If Edwin De Los Santos wasn't off of such a long layoff, I would take Keyshawn on points. There's a non-zero chance that I bet Keyshawn Davis by knockout here. Late stoppage though. Let's actually go group round betting. You and I love group round betting.
That's where you make your money.
Keyshawn Davis, 10 through 12 plus 850, 7 through 9 plus 600.
What about 7 through 12? What about
Yeah.
7 through 12? That's the one that I want to see.
That's me too. Here we go. 7 through 12 plus 310. There we go.
I love it.
There's our bet.
Yep, that's
There's
the
our
one.
bet.
And you placed $100 on there. That's a good bet, you guys.
I ain't playing no $100 because I don't do that, but that is our bet.
I'm reckless.
I wouldn't call that reckless. I would not call that reckless. A lot of people do this,
Hey, I've won some crazy parlays lately. Just want to say that I've been very proud of that I showed Bryan. Like, yo, look at this wild parlay that I hit.
We got to get to one more topic, but I think we should look at real quick the rest of the card.
Yes, very entertaining. I love a good top rank card because we are going to be seeing Abdullah Mason, as you mentioned, always entertaining. Who else do we have on this card?
So we have Keyshawn, his brother Kelvin, and we also have Keon. All of whom look like they're going to be good. Well, Keyshawn, we already know.
Yo, why is Troy Isley so low on the card?
I don't know if this is the BoxRec doesn't always have the correct order.
Okay,
we talked about before.
Troy Isley.
I think Troy Isley will be on ESPN. I'd be surprised.
He should be on ESPN because I believe he was co-mating an event not too long ago, right?
I legitimately like this card, and yes, to answer your question, I legitimately like this card because Tiger Johnson, who was on the show 2 years ago, around the time we got started, is fighting Janelson Figueroa. Yeah. Janelson Figueroa Boca Chica, who, look, he's not where he was before as a prospect because he's lost 3 straight and had a no contest with Brian Norman Jr., a fight that he was ahead on one scorecard at the time. It got stopped, but, we only saw a couple rounds from that. So you had cuts, is what it is. He lost to Romain Villa, lost to Quentin Randall, draw with Shenard Bunch, and honestly, should have lost that fight. So Tiger Johnson, this is a test. I wouldn't say it's an A+ test for him, but it's a good test for him. And at this point, he's 15-0, so we'll see. Abdullah Mason, we already mentioned him. Troy Isley is in an interesting fight. Ituni Michelle William from Brazil, who lost to Jose Miguel Borrego last time out. So this is a fight that Troy Isley should take care of. And the debut of Patrick O'Connor. People are, I think, excited about him from that DMV area, and also only 19 years old.
He's tough.
Cruiserweight. I'd be curious to see if he goes down to light heavyweight or something along those lines. But yeah, it's a fun card. A lot of prospects, a lot of youth, which is exciting. This is a card that we could look back on in a couple of years and see where everyone's at. And by that point, Troy Isley will probably have fought for, if not be, a middleweight champion already. Tiger Johnson, we'll see how he's progressed at that point. Kelvin Davis as well, because he's close, and obviously Abdullah Mason, who I think is the guy who excites people the most on this card, save for Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah, it's an exciting card, and I think Top Rank does a really good job at that, of highlighting these young fighters and putting them in positions to succeed. I've always liked Top Rank the best. I'm not going to sit here and lie. And we will be soon seeing one of the last Top Rank cards on ESPN.
I think Xander's going to be the last one,
which is very interesting. So that'll be. It'll be interesting what's going to happen next. That's a total different conversation that we will be having. But drop your comments. Let us think Let us know what you think about the card, what you think about Keyshawn Davis. Do you see him getting the knockout? And also, if you're more excited to see a guy like Abdullah Mason, drop your comments, let us know. Also, hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content.